I'm Kay Brooks, and my curriculum analysis is from the Ohio Department of Education English Language Arts Model Curriculum. It's for my EDU 511 class at Franciscan University. Here are the elements I will be covering along with a critique. There was a huge amount of information that I had to fit into these categories. I hope I've included the most beneficial of it. I will not be reading everything I have here. It is mostly quoted from the Ohio Department of Education site and is for evidence of my analysis, but you are welcome to read it later at your leisure or pause this video when you need to. My first consideration was the foundational elements. In Lesson 4, we learned that well-organized interest groups successfully lobby legislatures for the purpose of requiring schools to teach certain kinds of content, and state-level curriculum standards are adopted, a process that invites involvement from many constituencies. And the stated purpose in the standard revision overview document was that the development and review process of Ohio's learning standards and model curriculum were a key component of Ohio's strategic plan, Each Child, One Future, with Strategy 4 indicated here. But I hadn't really heard of One Child, One Future, so I looked into it for the philosophy of Ohio's model curriculum. I will be showing you some parts of Each Child, Our Future, the document in the next slides. However, the whole child is at the center, and if you'd like to see the link yourself, it's at the bottom of the page. I feel that the why now is the needs assessment, and that is the jobs are changing and require different skill sets. There are more diverse student needs and increased student exposure to poverty and social stressors. Here are the four equal learning domains. This is Strategy 4, the 10 strategies, which has to do with the curriculum. Strategy 5 has to do with assessments, and I will be mentioning that later. So is it political? I find it hard to believe that anything that happens at the state level is not political, and personal interest of some sort would also factor in. So Ohio's learning standards outline what students should know and be able to do in each subject and grade to be on track for success in college and or careers once they graduate, as was noted in the One Child, One Future document. The focus of the standards is on knowledge and skills a child should gain. And the learning standards are anchored by CCR standards, which are college and career readiness standards. In Lesson 4, we learned that in addition to teachers, other categories of people are asked to participate as members of curriculum groups. I found that the people involved do cover all areas of the state and all different size school districts and subject areas. In fact, one member of the 6-8 group is from Fort Fry Local, which is a small school district just south of us. There was also public participation where they were invited to submit comments and suggestions. Everything was reviewed and added if it was appropriate. Here's a legitimacy as to the standards on the left, adopted by the State Board of Education in 2018, and the model curriculum on the right, adopted in 2019. In Lesson 5, we learned that decisions you make require a delicate balance between the need to provide a program frame that will minimize students' difficulties in acquiring new knowledge and the obligation to assure that the included information is appropriate and accurate. The key designs of the standards are indicated here, and college and career readiness is the first one. It is an academic subject design, which, as we learned in Lesson 5, is the one most people have experience with, specifically correlation design, because there are literary standards in other subjects, and it's most definitely standards-based. I will be showing the design principles of scope, continuity, and spiraling on the next slide. However, I will be showing one standard, and all the standards are similar. As far as the sequence, it appears to be part to whole. The balance between the standards appears appropriate as well. Here is one standard copied from the standards page. The link is at the bottom of the left-hand side. This is specifically reading literacy standard, kindergarten, 8th grade, analyzing literary text development, which is the red highlights. But if you read them all, they all spiral. There's some repeat of material, but it becomes more sophisticated as the grade level increases. This is how all the standards are approached. The standards include standards for literacy and writing and history, social studies, science, and technology, but the model curriculum does not as yet include them. So it will be up to the teacher to make sure that this connection is made. I think that the evidence of attitudes, development, appreciations, and interests could be influenced by student choice in reading materials and/or activities resources. A Reading Rockets link on the English Language Arts Learning Strategies page says that choice is widely acknowledged as a method for enhancing motivation, so choice can lead to appreciation for reading and for learning. Content elements of the model curriculum. Many people play a role, but that of the teacher is the most important. The model curriculum is only a tool that provides educators with the information that will clarify learning standards and set the foundation for planning and developing instruction aligned to Ohio's learning standards. If you go to the model curriculum page and click on the link for the grade that you wish, I chose grade 5, model curriculum. This would be the introductory page. It is organized by strand and topic. The components are content elaborations. There are progressions, previous grade and the next grade, instructional strategies and resources. And they will highlight for technology, diverse learners, and career connections. These are updated as needed. There are links to the curriculum map information, but it is information only. There's a resource evaluation tool, which is a checklist for your lessons. There's a link to the standards page, and there's extra guidance here for this particular standard for themes and summaries. The standard that I showed you previously is here. Domains reading, strand is reading literature, topic, key ideas and details, and then the standards are in the middle. Next grade level progression statements, previous grade level progression statements, and content elaboration to help the teacher. And since this is a literacy standard, there is guidance for theme and summary that is located here, and then the strategies will follow. Many learning strategies, the 21st century concepts and skills are very evident in them. The syntactic knowledge is probably emphasized more than substantive, but both are present. Plenty of inquiry and discovering and rearranging knowledge to make new interpretations. So far as authentic learning, the teacher would have to link that. For example, there is a strategy where newspaper articles are used, so that would be an opportunity for something like that. The curriculum would be rigorous because of the underlying CCR standards. This is just a summary of everything that I said previously. In Lesson 7, we learned that teachers make program adjustments. They implement these changes on a trial basis. They decide to adopt a modification or to make additional revisions. Because of the numerous instructional strategies, I believe that a teacher could use what they can when they can, and they could be able to get used to this curriculum very quickly. In Lesson 3, we learned that standards-based education should establish clear statements regarding what students should learn and develop reliable and valid assessment systems. The ODE site refers to state tests and assessments. They do recommend a combination of formative and and summative locally, but most of the assessment information is for the standardized tests. The curriculum is set to the standards and is evaluated by the standardized test. It appears to use a type of discrepancy model. The means of testing is the standardized test. The means of assessment locally would be up to the teacher. Any assessment set to the standards, I would think, would assure its reliability. However, I also uncovered a pilot project that has been going on since 2011 and seeks to define the role of performance-based assessments in Ohio. It appears to have a lot to do with formative assessments and how we are compared internationally, and I found it to be very interesting. You can find it at the link at the bottom. There are no actual printed rubrics. There is a checklist for alignment to the standards. There's also some videos that you can look at on doing rubrics, and there are lots of webinars you can also listen to also regarding rubrics. This starts my critique. I believe the philosophical position is essentialism because of the common core of knowledge, but I do believe that the arts should be included personally. I believe there are elements of both the behaviorist and the cognitive learning theories. There is a link to Bloom's taxonomy, which would be under cognitive, and the multiple dimension theories are very evident in the learning strategies, particularly Gardner's mental abilities. Clarity, internal consistency, and editing were all addressed during the revision of the learning standards. Psychomotive and affective content should be specifically addressed by the teacher. However, I believe that the content is developmentally appropriate. I believe that any repetition is for a foundation, which I feel is important. I don't think anything was necessarily omitted. Learning activities and experiences I feel were excellent and can always be added to. One problem I have with the curriculum is the standardized testing. I realize that it's here to stay, but can critical thinking, for example, be tested by a standardized test? Another problem is the big principle. Although One Child, One Future mentions students who have trouble in school for reasons outside those that qualify for an IEP, I don't really see it as being addressed. And there is a huge amount of information on this site. I think that the site could be organized a little bit better to get at the information a little quicker. I'm hoping that my problem with the local assessments will be solved with the pilot study and subject integration. The cross-curricular literary connections are not in the model curriculum yet. I have tried to arrange these references in a way that you can see which links go to which site. Otherwise, I think you just have to go to the site and spend a lot of time navigating through it. Thank you for listening.